Well, hey, family, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you again for tuning in to this YouTube channel. And we're so excited to have you once again with us today. We are just really geeked about today's subject. And, we want you to stay connected to us. So it's important. Make sure you do this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And then you follow us. You need to follow her, Dr. Steph Walker, right there on IG. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. Make sure you do that. We want to connect with you. Listen, we don't get right into it. Today, I really talk about like this whole academic pilgrimage and some of the challenges we had growing up. How do we end up? And you ended up, in Ivy League. I ended up in Ivy League, and our journey was pretty interesting, right? Yeah. People see that and don't realize that how important education is. But even as we mentor students who hit those roadblocks, my story is when I was young, third grade, they wanted to test me in Louisiana for special education. I was active all over the place, and my mother and father came to the school. My mother was an educator, and they came to the school and literally looked at the teacher and told her, nothing's wrong with our son. And all the signs that the school thought would be applicable to me ended up after taking the test, I was actually gifted and bored. Yeah. And sometimes we end up labeling our students and not realizing that if people aren't invested and advocating for them, we end up in those crazy spaces. And so how does a kid go from being almost in special ed, right, to graduating Southern University in Baton Rouge in 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
4-year degree in 3 years, going to Vanderbilt Divinity School, and then getting a doctorate degree from Princeton, all because I was able to persevere. I had people who were advocating for me and who understood that. Here you are, Miss Harvard.
Yeah, well, my story is growing up in LA, I was one of 7 kids, and I was always kind of like the brainiac child. Like in my free time, I would like read the encyclopedias. Like for holidays, I'd be like under the coffee table in the middle of like 100 cousins, like reading or doing my homework or what have you. So it was never an issue of, can she succeed or was she good at school, at least not in my family. The interesting thing is, even though that's how I was brought up and my parents would always tell me, you can do anything, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. When I got to school, because I was outgoing and funny and I was athletic, teachers would look at me and make the assumption that I wasn't smart. Like to the point where like even after, it would always occur after the first set of tests. So we would take our test, I would score really high on those exams, and back in the day, that's when, we didn't have computers and stuff, so teachers would like pass out the exams to all the students, and they'd be like, Stephanie Hale, which is my maiden name, Stephanie Hale, and I'd be like, that's me, and they'd be like, no, Stephanie Hale, and they'd be looking around the class, I'd be like, yeah, that's me, and they'd be like, no, not you, because I'd get an A on my exams. And they made the assumption by looking at me and because I was so active and outgoing that there was no way that I could be academic as well, that I could be that well balanced or what have you. And even to the point where, I went to a private high school and then I ended up at Vanderbilt for undergrad. I got a full scholarship at Vanderbilt, academic scholarship. But of course, when people hear I got a scholarship, the assumption is I got an athletic scholarship, but I didn't. I got an academic scholarship, full ride, 4 years, walked in, signed my name, and I had, money for the next 4 years of my life for school. I ended up going to Cornell for medical school and then end up at Harvard School of Public Health for my master's of public health degree. And entering and applying, I was told multiple times by multiple people. One, well, aren't you too old to go back to school? One, don't listen to people. That's rule number one. Another person I asked for a letter of recommendation. I had to because they were the head of my department at the time, so you can look it up and figure out who that person was for yourself. But they were like, what? You think you're that competitive to get into Harvard? Well, it must not be that competitive of a program then. And it took everything in me in that moment to not like burst. But what I could get out was, you don't know my God. And I turned around, walked away, got a recommendation from someone else. And not only did I get in, I got 2 full ride scholarships. 2. And of course, I could only take 1. But that just goes to show you that you can do it. You don't know what people are looking for. And at the end of the day, don't let people tell you what you can or cannot do. If we had listened, or our families had listened to what people were telling them or telling us, or what trajectory other people were trying to put us on, there is no way we would be who we are or where we are today.
And you really have to come to that place where you really believe in yourself. I think
Yeah.
sometimes when you have so many systemic things coming at you at one time,
Yeah.
sometimes people are telling you, you can't do this or you can't overcome this. I mean, I was very active, in
Yeah.
in
And we didn't come from money.
No.
Like, let's be clear about that.
Pro without the R, pro, right? But we had a family unit, we had a village that believed in us and that continued to pour into us.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the best schools, the best
Yeah.
books, and all that. I think sometimes when people watch this and they're wondering, like, well, you guys had privilege.
You're born with silver spoons in your mouth.
Did not
No, absolutely not.
persevere through.
Yeah.
And it was the commitment and people around us.
Yeah,
And I
the
think,
village that was around us that
Yeah.
continued to encourage and pour into us. So we were hearing negative things in the academic institutions about what we were capable of doing, but at home, which is so important for your village, like make sure you're surrounding yourself by people who are speaking positivity into your life. And for those who aren't, it's okay to love them from afar. You could be very polite and just disconnect so that you can achieve. Because what ends up happening is the more people speak into you, you are made up of the closest 5 people that you spend time with,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so you're spending time with negative Susies. Guess what? That's going to bring you down, and you won't even realize that's what's happening to you because everyone else around you is doing the same thing, right? Or that's what's being spoken into you. Or sometimes people don't even mean to be malicious. They're not necessarily meaning to be mean, but people don't know what they don't know. People frequently are talking from their own experiences and also from their own fears.
Yeah. Some of us need a little bit more help, like
Yeah.
I did. For example, being in that environment in the South and being in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And my wife is much smarter than I. And so I didn't get an academic scholarship, right? I got a band scholarship
Yeah.
that got me into Southern University. But let me talk about the HBCU experience because
Yeah.
it was so critical for me to go to HBCU. And I think because of the community and support,
Yeah.
people who believed in me and surrounded me and insulated me with resources. And sometimes those folks understand, that I'm not just a student, right? I'm a human being, I'm a person. And they were very intentional about supporting me and teachers spending more time with me
Yeah.
doing those kinds of things. It wasn't just a black and white and just, what's going on in your life? How can we support you? And
What's
so
going on at home?
I give big ups to HBCUs for really
Yeah.
investing in that part of the student life.
Yeah.
And, Southern University was that for me, but there's so many amazing, extraordinary HBCUs. What I'm saying is whatever works for you, the issue is just know you got to believe in yourself and you have the capacity to accomplish it. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have roadblocks. I had
Yeah.
difficulty, sometimes passing tests. I wasn't a good test taker at first. And so I had to learn how to take classes to take tests. Sometimes, the way the system's set up, if you don't pass a test, you can't go ahead. Sometimes our kids are not good at taking tests. And you have to learn how to create resources. We learn some things even around our children, right? We talk
Yeah.
about that, right? Because we saw this.
Yeah, so
We lived it.
pre-pandemic, our lives were like full steam ahead and we were going in different directions. We'd be traveling here and there and we were just going lightning speed. And we had, people helping us with our kids, whether it was like a nanny or a babysitter or our parents or aunts or uncles or whatever coming to hang out with our kids while we were traveling. Well, because we were so busy, we were making the assumption that everything was okay. And then we look up and we realize I'm home and I'm like reading with Giovanni and I'm like she was having some difficulty. And then it was like over and over and over again. It wasn't just like one night. It was clear that she wasn't catching some phonetic things when it came to her reading. And so I went into school and basically, talked to the teacher and they're like, no, don't worry about it. She's going to be fine. She'll catch up. And I stayed concerned as a parent, and then I went in and insisted that she be tested. And the teacher was like, oh, well, if it makes you feel better, she's going to be fine, but go ahead and test her. So I went ahead and got her tested, and yeah, indeed, she had some learning issues. And what we realized was in that moment, you realize, wow, if we didn't have the resources, if we didn't have the wherewithal, if I wasn't as passionate or paying attention, or if I just wasn't there, it wouldn't have mattered that we have all these resources, but if I wasn't present and investigating and evaluating my own kid, I would have never realized that she was having issues. Well, needless to say, we figured out what was going on, and I got the resources. I worked with her myself because I really didn't trust anyone else to do it the way that I, would do it in terms of the commitment. And she's fine now. She caught up, within 6 months, and she was fine. But that's how children get lost and fall in the gaps. Not having the resources, or not having an advocate, or not having a parent who knows. Like, I didn't know either, but I knew something wasn't right. And I had the gall to get up and say something. But even in going to the school, they told me it was fine. And frequently, many parents stop there. But the reality, if you're a parent and you have kids, or you're an aunt or an uncle or whatever, and you see something going on with one of your nieces, nephews, your children, you know your kids better than anyone. And so at the end of the day, if you feel like something's not right, guess what? Something's not right.
That's right.
So keep pushing the envelope until you get the answers, or any answers that will, help you move in the right direction to get resources for your kid.
It's so true, right? It's so true. And I think that when you really do, it's about being present. When you really do understand that being present matters, it makes a difference. And I think sometimes you take for granted, right? You send your kids to school, you don't realize your part in that, your part in advocating and really being a partner with your kids in their academic pilgrimage. For us, man, like I think about the trajectory that we have been on and how we've been able to mentor students in various places. You've mentored medical students, I've mentored divinity students, we've mentored business students, and all kinds of students in various spaces. And there's a couple things that we've just learned, right, to share. And I think it's important, and I hope you're really tagging on and listening to what we're saying to you, because you really have to really believe in yourself. I want you to write that, believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself.
Because whether you believe that you can or whether you believe that you can't, you're right. Right? You've heard that before. And so it really starts with the mindset.
Yeah. So you got to believe in yourself. I think the second thing that's important is you have to stop making excuses, right?
How?
Yeah, you got to stop making excuses. I mean, excuses are like nails to nothingness. You're building nails to a wall of nothingness, and you have to get to a point that we had every reason to make excuses. I was born over here. I grew up in Shreveport. We didn't have this. We didn't have that.
We don't have resources. We can't do it. No one knows how to show me. I don't know what to do. Where do I go? Yeah.
I think the third thing I would say to you is, remember this: you can't be as good as, be better than.
You have to be, especially if you look like us. You have to be better than, because the expectation is that you're not, or that you can't. And unfortunately, this is just the world that we live in. This is not a racist statement. It is our reality. And the moment that you let that reality sink in, you stop being angry, you stop getting upset. You just live it, and you grind it, and you make it, right? You can sit here and complain about it. Where is it going to get you? Nowhere, right? But if you understand that that's just sort of the world that we live in today, maybe you can become whoever you're going to be and do whatever you're going to do and change it. But for now, it is what it is. And so as opposed to getting upset about it, like, grab it, own it, deal with it, and be better than, work harder than, stay up longer than, show up earlier than.
That is. And here's the fourth thing and the final thing, and I really hope you get this one. This one will bless you. This is something we teach our kids. It's something we live by. You do what you have to do when you have to do it, so you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. My father taught me that when we were growing up, and what that really means is exactly what it says. Like, people look at us and they're trying to figure out, well, how did you get this? And how did you do that? And how did Dr. Steph retire, when she was, 42 years old? Well, because I was grinding my whole life. You do what you have to do when you have to do it, right? So if you're in school, grind. If you're in medical school, grind. If you're trying to get to somewhere, grind. Like, you look at people and you're like, oh, wow, they're, this, that, and another. And you're trying to get there, but you're trying to take the elevator. We didn't take the elevator, we took the steps. It's hard work. It's blood, sweat, tears. And guess what? No one enjoys it. You look back and you can reflect and reminisce and see how great it was in terms of the journey. You're supposed to be enjoying the journey. But the reality is, it's hard. It's difficult. It's not always a happy-go-lucky place or experience. But the reality is, if you can do it, it's like short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. You do what you have to do today so you can do what you want to do tomorrow. So because I sacrificed and I worked hard and I focused and he did the same in his life, now today,
we're living lives where we are in control of our own schedule, where we're in control of our own businesses, where we're doing what we want to do. We're saying yes to the programs and projects that we want to say yes to. We're saying no to anything that we don't. But everyone doesn't have that luxury. And we recognize that it's a luxury to be able to do that. But it also was a grind to do it. Yeah. Sacrifice. And let me just say this, grace. There is nothing that we could have done without the grace of God, period. Hands down, God had his hand on us the whole way. I prayed my way through school, medical school, residency, you name it, prayed my way through this marriage. But the reality is, without prayer, without God in your life, it doesn't matter how successful you are, whatever you get, it's not going to last, right? And so just understanding the importance of no matter where you're going, take God with you. And even, I know I'm perseverating, but even when it comes to sort of asking God for what you want, right? He gives you a little bit to see what you're going to do with it and see if you're going to take him with you when you take a baby step. And if you don't, why would he give you this wild trajectory beyond your wildest dream if you won't even take him with you to the first floor? Of course, you're not going to take him with you to the penthouse, right? And so all of these little steps along the way are tests.
Yeah. So listen, man, we could just go on and on with this. This is such a passionate thing for us. Education is so passionate a subject for us. And I want to share a few things with you that I think would benefit you. One, you may not know that Dr. Steph and I, we have a scholarship, the Dr. Joseph and Stephanie Walker Scholarship Fund. And it's through the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. You can actually access it right there. And you'd be amazed that we give these $2,500 scholarships to students who go to college or in school, et cetera. So you can go right there. And the beautiful thing
anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country or the world. And the beautiful thing about the Community Foundation, if you don't get our scholarship, they'll open you up to a variety of other scholarships that are available there as well. Also, part of our ministry at the church I pastor, Mount Zion Church, that we give scholarships out. We're giving $200,000 in scholarships to college students. You can go to our website right there, MountZionNashville.org, and see our college stuff and check it out. You'll be hearing things about that. And also, we're giving $100,000 to high school students going to college. So you see, we're very committed and giving some significant funds to HBCUs as well. So it's something we're very passionate. We're not just talking about this, man. We really believe in it. We believe in you. And so listen, we want you to stay connected with us. If there's anything we could do to help, to guide your path, your trajectory, to help you. Maybe this has helped a parent who's like, man, I understand what they were trying to say about my child. This is the time right now. So listen, make sure you comment. We read these comments.
Yes.
We read them. And we want to make sure you hit that bell, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. It means a lot when you do that. Thank you so much for just being a part of this wonderful, wonderful space that we have created just for you, content we hope you can use. Once again, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Peace out.